Rigpa. Rigpa is the fundamental state beyond mind, the mechanical, beyond awareness, specifically direct purity of the inherent truth. Rigpa is a Tibetan word meaning consciousness or intelligence. Rigpa debunks creator and creation. Rigpa is the original state. Being fully awakened is enlightenment. Realization there can only be truth. Soul, the only presence. In the context of Jashin tradition, Rigpa signifies the innermost purity beyond the mechanics of the mind. Rigpa is pristine, pure recognition that is the inherent stature of Christ's material consciousness, actualization. In Jashin, Rigpa is an understood fundamental omniscience that transmits higher stream of consciousness, the Christ material consciousness. Although transparent, is the abode of soul, the only presence. The transposing beyond the mechanical process of the mind, from which illusions were produced, is truth that is beyond all limits and is the idea of infinity, holiness. Rigpa follows the lineage and tradition of Yajin, which is considered the most ancient and direct stream of wisdom, analogous to Gnosis. The individual materialism consciousness, the reflection of Christ's material consciousness, supports and sustains another, no self, the oneness. As it stands now, it is erroneous to believe Rigpa is or can be taught externally. Rigpa will never be achieved through study or practice. These communities formed for Rigpa are nothing more than a deceit of the world ego to enrich itself. Rigpa has no external linkage, as Rigpa is complete and authentic stream of individual materialism consciousness, flowing from the absolute Christ material consciousness, the abode of soul, the only presence. There is no awakening of the mind, as it is the stage for a world ego that must be transcended. Rigpa means pristine, pure consciousness. So therefore, the notion of a connection to mind is impossible with all the mind's impurities. Rigpa means knowing, and knowing only comes from direct experience. The original wakefulness of experience is individual materialism consciousness, reflecting Christ's material consciousness, expressing through the personality, mirroring the temporary conscious idea, or to objectify. Rigpa has two aspects, namely Kadak and Hungrub. Kadak means purity, or specifically primordial purity, in the West is understood as Christ's material consciousness, the abode of soul. The root is spontaneous action, or the omnipresence. All outer concepts are proven deceptive by its controversy and degraded defilement by the world ego, the fabrication. Theravada, the way of the elder, is what comes before dissolution into Christ consciousness, or the fullness, the actualization of enlightenment. Individual materialism consciousness is the goal. Through personal effort and meditation, insight is gained with the guidance of the inner teacher, Buddha, Holy Spirit, etc. This attainment unfolds within. There can be no relying on the external, as it is merely an aggregation of forces, elementals, or deities, chemical reactions, the detractors. Theravada leads to Rigpa. Meditation, one point focus, cultivates inner wisdom and understanding within the personality. That is the path which leads to the monastic experience, or me, a highly valued experience of the authentic and genuine. This is the way, Theravada. All unwanted substances and contaminants within the subconscious are removed by converting impurities. The subconscious was a substance made from more than one element or one compound, hence made impure from the immaculate state. The subconscious is the source of good and or evil, which makes it dirty or unacceptable quality. An impurity, like trick or treat, is something that ruins the uncontaminated nature. For example, when water is pure, the only thing in the water is water. The subconscious, or fallen state, is the root source of subliminal messaging and programming. This messaging and programming lies the place of control and manipulation, an illusory smoke and mere reality. The world ego deceives through its indoctrinations into the illusions like otherness and separation, like their humanity and religions. Humanity is a massive state of hypnosis, an illusory form and product of hypnotic suggestion. It is the subconscious paradigm that created the three-dimensional curtain, conscious, unconscious, and forgetfulness, that infuses deception and misdirection. This is the distraction from one's natural state of wisdom, the individual materialism consciousness, that is the reflection of Christ's material consciousness, the abode of soul, the omnipresence. The three-dimensional illusion is filled with everything seen by creating a blind sight, like the physical body or the physical world. This physical, the world ego, the physical curtain world ego uses the 5 senses. These sensors are programmed to be receptive to the surrounding curtain. These sensors pick up signals from the 3D veil through the subliminal messaging. These messages appear as thinking, and this is why they are subliminal, because this messaging does not rise above conscious or personality threshold. A subliminal is designed to act on the mechanical, the brain, within the mental level, mind, or blind forces. The world ego is one huge subliminal deception imposed upon the purity of Rigpa. Through devotion and meditation, one breaks the trance state of this mass hallucination. The defilement and degradation is the pollution overlaid over the purity, Rigpa. The mass agreement that there is such things as good or evil are the impurities, beliefs that has brought about the acceptance of the hypnotic trance. The 3-dimensional illusion belongs to thinking, and ignorance, and is not being aware of wholeness, holiness, soul, the only presence, Christ consciousness, Christ material consciousness. Thinking is that thing conscious personality appears to be. Thinking is what the personality is believed to be doing. The humanity delusion is within the time zones of past and future, which does not exist. Thereby, thinking and belief in them is a manipulation of the hypnotic suggestion. In order to function within this 3D space of these are the requirements that must be met: ignorance, separation, and otherness. Individual materialism consciousness is the wisdom state that extends beyond the illusory forms, and that wisdom state knows through reflecting the purity of Christ material consciousness. Rigpa is the clarity that the abode of soul is the only presence, spontaneous action. Wisdom knows that this illusion of good versus evil does not exist. There is only the pristine purity of Christ's material consciousness, the abode of soul, the only presence. The fallen state of the subconscious is the fabricated creator God, the antithesis to wisdom, the goddess. Individual materialism consciousness is the way, or Theravada, upholder of purifying the subconscious. Mind is the fabrication or reason. There is a 3D reality using subliminal messaging and programming. The subconscious conjures up and controls using the power and energy of its immaculate state, unaware or blindly. The adoration, reverence, and control the fallen state receives is a misdirection of conscious within the personality before awakening and the purification is enlightenment to truth. Love and devotion are the pathways leading from the fallen state to the wisdom of Theraveda, and by the pristine purity of the Christ material consciousness, the abode of soul, the only present